Hi everyone, welcome to our channel where you can revise biology topics from the Cambridge IGCSE syllabus. This video summarizes topic 1, characteristics and classification of living organisms. Biology is the study of living things which are often called organisms. There are 7 characteristics that an organism must have in order to be recognized as a living thing. Mrs. Green is going to help us with this. Mrs. Green is a mnemonic that may help us remember the 7 characteristics of the living things. M stands for movement, R stands for respiration, S stands for sensitivity, G stands for growth, R stands for reproduction, E stands for excretion, and N stands for nutrition. Movement is an action by an organism or part of an organism causing a change of position or place. Respiration is the chemical reactions in cells that break down nutrient molecules and releases energy for metabolism. Sensitivity is the ability to detect and respond to changes in the internal or external environment. Growth is a permanent increase in size and dry mass. Reproduction are the processes that make more of the same kind of organism. Excretion is the removal of waste products of metabolism and substances in excess of requirements. And nutrition is the taking in of materials for energy growth and development. Let's move on to the concept and uses of classification system. There are millions of species of organisms on Earth. What is a species? A species is described as a group of organisms that can reproduce to produce fertile offsprings. These species can be classified into groups by the features that they share. For example, generally all mammals have hair, often are warm-blooded and give birth to live youngs. Next, we must know what a binomial system is. The binomial system of naming species is an internationally agreed system in which the scientific name of an organism is made up of 2 parts, showing the genus and species. A genus is a group of related species. This system allows the subdivision of living organisms into smaller groups. The species in these groups have more and more features in common the more subdivided they get. In this system, the scientific name of an organism is made up of 2 parts, starting with the genus, which always starts with a capital letter, and followed by species starting with a simple letter. When typed, binomial names are always in italics, which indicates they are Latin. For example, Homo sapien. Let's learn about dichotomous keys. Dichotomous keys are used to identify organisms based on a series of questions about their features. Dichotomous means branching into 2, and it helps you identify the name of an organism by giving 2 descriptions at a time and asking you to choose each choice, which leads you to another 2 descriptions until you end up with the name of the organisms. Let's look at an examples of how we can use dichotomous keys. This is a simple question from a past paper where we must choose the correct answer by navigating through the dichotomous keys. There is a picture of an animal given, and we may first read through the descriptions in one to choose where to go next. The two descriptions are body covered with scales and body covered with hair. By looking at the picture, we can see that this organism is body covered with hair. So, we must go to the 3. The descriptions in number 3 are has webbed feet or does not have webbed feet. You may notice that the organism has webbed feet. Therefore, the answer is C. Let's understand what classification means. Basically, classification means putting things into groups. The main reason for classifying living things is to make it easier to study them. Classification systems aims to reflect evolutionary relationships between species. Traditionally, organisms were classified based on the features that they shared. So it was understood that the more features they shared, the more closely related they were. However, this method of using similar physical features of species to categorize them has its difficulties and is not enough. With the advancement of technology, scientists were able to study DNA sequences of different species, and this helped to classify organisms using a more scientific approach. This method showed that the more similar the base sequences in the DNA of two species, the more closely related those two species are, and the more recent their common ancestor is. The first step to classify living things is to put them into one of 5 kingdoms. They are animals, plants, fungi, prototists, and prokaryotes. Let's take a look at animals first. The main features of all animals are they are multicellular or made of many cells. Their cells contains a nucleus but no cell walls or chloroplasts. And they get their nutrition by eating other living things. Here is a picture of an animal cell. As you can see, they have a nucleus, cell membrane, mitochondria, ribosomes, and cytoplasm. The next kingdom is plants. Main features of all plants are that they are multicellular. Their cells contain a nucleus, chloroplasts, and cell walls made from cellulose. And they get their nutrition by making their own food through a process called photosynthesis. This is a picture of a plant cell. You might notice that in addition to what an animal cell has, a plant cell has a cell wall and chloroplasts as well. Next, let's take a look at the main features that help to place organisms into the kingdom of fungi. A mushroom is an example of a fungus. Fungi are usually multicellular. Their cells have nuclei and cell walls are not made from cellulose. They feed by saprophytic nutrition, that is on dead or decaying material, or by parasitic nutrition, that is on live material. Here is an illustration of a fungal cell. They have a cell wall, but it's not made up of cellulose like in the plant cell. The main features of organisms in the protoctist kingdom are mostly unicellular, but some are multicellular. All have nucleus, Some may have cell walls and chloroplasts. Some get their nutrition by making their own food through photosynthesis, and some get their nutrition by eating other living things. Here are some examples of protoctist cells. As you can see, some may have cell walls and chloroplast and some may not. Final kingdom is prokaryote. Bacteria is an example of prokaryote. The main feature of all prokaryotes are they are often unicellular. Their cells have cell walls that are not made of cellulose and cytoplasm but no nucleus or mitochondria. Here is an illustration of a typical bacterial cell. As you may notice, a bacterial cell does not have a nucleus. Instead, it has strands of DNA and plasmids. So these are the main things to know from chapter 1, that is characteristics and classification of living organisms. Hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more biological revision videos.